Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to discuss the topic of unbalanced transportation problem. So let me give you a glimpse that what unbalanced transportation problem is and how to actually balance the particular transportation problem and then solve it, because I've already discussed that there is no technique to solve unbalanced transportation problem as such. So this is the problem right here. In for introduction of transportation problem, you can watch the previous videos in which I've discussed everything about transportation problem here. So this is the problem right here in front of me. I have three factories producing a particular product, and there are four markets in which they are supplying. So if you look into the availability of the products, so these are the availability of the products with the factories, or you can also think them as capacity, you can think them as supply. That means factory F1 has a capacity to produce 50 units, F2 has a capacity to produce 40 units, F3 has a capacity to produce 70 units. Probably in a particular production run, you can think about this transportation plan for a month, for a week, for a year, or something like that. Let's talk about a month. Then in a month, market M1 requires 30 units, M2 requires 25 units, M3 requires 35 units, and M4 requires 40 units. So these are the requirements for these products for the particular month, and these are the costs of shipping one unit from factory to market. So 11 is the cost. It could be dollars, rupees, you can multiply it in hundreds, thousands, depending on what kind of transportation you're getting. So if I am shipping one unit from F1 to M1, that means factory F1 to M1, my cost is 11 rupees, and 20 rupees is the cost if I'm shipping one unit from F1 factory to market M2. So this is a cost matrix, and my objective here is to minimize the total transportation cost. So in order to proceed for the solution, the first step is exactly to understand whether the problem is balanced or not. So if I look into the problem, how do I check the balance of the problem? I just calculate what is the total availability. So if I look into the availability here, the total availability is 70 and 40 and 10 and 50 and 60. So the availability overall is 160 units. That means factories have a capacity to produce 160 units. But when I look into the requirement, 30 and then 25, 55, and that makes it 85, 90, and 40, 130. If you look into the requirement, that is exactly 130. So availability is not equal to requirement. So this is requirement. I'll represent it by R, availability by A. So if I look into the thing, availability is not equal to requirement. You can think of a simple principle: demand is not equal to supply. That means supply is available of 160 units, while demand in the market is only there for 130 units. So this is an unbalanced transportation problem. So in order to solve these kind of problems, the first step is to balance the particular transportation problem. Since there is a deficit, so that means of 30 units, that means I am producing 30 units surplus which are to be consumed in the market, and I don't have a market as such. All four markets which are there in the problem have a capacity to consume only 130 units, and I have a 30 unit surplus towards A. So 30 plus is here at A with the availability. So if the surplus is there with the availability, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a dummy market, which I'm going to call it M5. I'm going to create a dummy market with the transportation cost equal to 0, and I'm going to credit the surplus supply to this market's requirement. Now if you look into the overall requirement, that is also 160, and the supply is also 160, so I balanced it. Now you can think about other possibility. There could be a surplus here. Probably the requirement is more, the deficit is on this direction, the requirement is more, and the availability is less. So if the availability is less, then the demand is surplus. So in that case, I will create a dummy factory here, F4, with all the transportation cost equal to 0, and credit it with the capacity of producing surplus demand. So that's how this whole transportation problem is balanced now. Now we are going to solve it by using Vogel's approximation method, one of the best methods available to solve transportation problems. So I'll pick up the Vogel's approximation method in my next piece of paper here. So this is exactly how the balanced transportation problem is written. Now I'm going to solve it by using Vogel's approximation method, though I have given a thorough discussion on Vogel's approximation method in previous video, but if somebody is missing something in that video, you can re-see it here. So in order to start solving the problem using Vogel's approximation, I calculate row and column penalties. So I'm going to calculate row penalty, column penalty by P1, or I would say the row penalty by P1, and I'm going to call the row penalties by P1 dash. The detailed discussion can be seen in the previous video. I'm repeating it. So penalty is calculated by finding minimum and second minimum. So what is the minimum here? 7 and 0. What is the second minimum? 7. So difference of them, 7 minus 0 is 0. So first penalty is 0. Again I have to see minimum, which is 0, and the second minimum is 10. So 10 minus 0 is 10. The third row, again the minimum is 0, of course it remains 0, and the second minimum is 8. So 8 minus 0 is 8. Same way I'm going to do in columns. Minimum is 8, second minimum is 11, and the difference is 3. The minimum is 12, second minimum is 16, the difference is 4. The minimum is 7, second minimum is 10, the difference is 3. Minimum is 8, second minimum is 9, the difference is 1, and here actually it is going to come out to be 0. Now out of the calculated penalties, I select the maximum in both row penalties and column penalties. I'm going to select maximum, and I'm going to enter in that particular corresponding row or column wherever I find maximum. So I enter from 10, because out of the calculated penalties 10 is maximum. So I enter from here and I see the minimum cost cell. So minimum cost cell is this. So my allocation is going to go here, and the allocation will be out of availability and requirement, minimum of them. Though F2 requires 40 units, but M5 only needs 30 units. So I cannot supply 40 units because M5 doesn't need it. So I'm going to supply 30 units over here. Now M5 doesn't require anything. That means this particular column or this particular market has no role to play in further solution. So whenever I am going to calculate the row penalties, I will not consider this market because it has no role to play in solution, right? So I'm going to calculate P2, the second penalty here. So it is again minimum and second minimum. Now I am repeating it. I am not considering this because this has no role to play in the market in solution, further solution. So let's see it. Minimum is 7, and second minimum is 8. So difference is 1. Now minimum here is, out of these 4 is 10. The second minimum is 12. The difference is 2. The minimum is 8, second minimum is 9, so it is going to be 1. And if I calculate P2 dash, it is going to remain same because no row gets cancelled. You can calculate it other way around, like minimum, second minimum, it will still come out as 3. Minimum, second minimum, it will still be 4, it will still be 3, it will still be 1. So you can keep on calculating minimum and second minimum. Now if I look into the maximum, out of them 4 is the maximum here. If you see them, 4 is maximum. So I enter here and I see the minimum cost cell, which is 12. The allocation will be minimum of demand and supply, 70 and 25. So it is going to be 25 here. Okay, I'll shift it a little bit upside because I need a lot of space downwards. Now it is P3 dash here and it is P3 here. So this M2 needed 25 units, has been supplied. This has been supplied. So look at this. Now neither market 5 nor market M2 has any role to play in solution. So when I'll calculate the next penalties, that is P4, I'm not going to consider them. So P4 would be minimum and second minimum out of M1, M4, M3 and M4 because M2 and M5 has no role to play. So now out of these 3, still it is 8 minus 7, which is 1. It is 10, 12, 21. So 10 minus 12, it still remains 2. It is 9, 18 and 8. So still it remains 1. And I don't think there will be any change in P3. It will still be 3, 3, 1. Now I have 2 maximums. I have 1, 3 and second 3. I can enter from anywhere. Let me enter it from here. So if I look into this, the minimum cost cell is right here. Now F3 producing 70 units, M1 requires 30 units. But out of 70, 25 are already been given. So how many actually are left? 45 are left, out of which 30 are needed here, given. Okay, now I'll go for fourth penalty. Now look at this. No role to play, no role to play, no role to play. These will still come out minimum, second minimum, 3, 1. But this P4 I'm going to calculate out of difference of these two only. 7 minus 8 is still 1. 10 minus 12 is still 2. But 18 minus 9 is 9 now. So I'm going to make an entry from here because out of newly calculated penalties, 9 is the maximum. You see the minimum cost cell 0, but it has no role to play. Again, the second minimum cost cell is this 9. Now it requires 40. The available are 70, but not available are not 70. 30 plus 25. That means 55 have already been given. So I'm left only with 15 units. That means 30 and 25 are already given out of 70. So how many are left? 15. So all 15 I'm going to give here. Now look at this. When I'm going to calculate P5, this factory has shipped all its units. While here I'm squeezed with the space now. Not needed, not needed, not needed. And look, when I'm going to calculate these two penalties now, this factory has no role to play because it was having 70 units and all are shipped. And all are shipped. So it has no role to play in the solution. So we're finding the difference between 10 minus 7, that is 3 still, and 8 minus 12, that is 4. And here it will come out as 1, 2 as usual. Minimum and second minimum out of these two. So 4 is maximum now. So I'll enter from here. What is the minimum cost cell now? 8 here, right here. So how many possible units I can ship? How many possible units I can ship? The market demands 40, out of which 15 are already shipped. I can only give 25 from here. Yes, they are available. So look at this. Now, okay, I'm really done with this space. I'll try to put P6 here and make sure that it is visible. Not needed. Not needed. Not needed. Not needed. Only thing left here is 3. Not needed. P6 I am calculating, and it will still now only one column is left. So I'm going to write 7 and 10. So I'll enter from 10 because maximum 7, 10 and 3, 10 is maximum, and I look into here. Where is the minimum cost cell? Minimum cost cell is now 10. How many units? 10. Why? 30 are already been given out of 40. It has only 10. So that means look at the last. Okay, I'm going to make really the last calculation little quick. P7. It was having 40 units. It was having 70 units. The only thing remain is 7 here. Okay. And when I calculate P7, I'll just see in P7. Okay, I'll make a calculation for P7 dash here. If you could see. It has to be going down, but I'm making it here. Okay, not needed, not needed, not needed, not needed. And the only thing is, look at this. Here the only thing left is 7. So I can make entry from anywhere, here or here. The only cell left is this, and the total allotment of unit is 25. So that's it. I'm done. 25, 25, 50, 10, 30, 40. 30, 25, 15 is 70, 30, 25, 15, 40, 25, 10, 35, 25, 30. All units have been shipped. Now when I calculate the transportation cost, so I'm going to calculate in this bracket here, and I'll write it TPT cost. It will be 7 times 25 plus 8 times 25 plus 10 times 10 plus, now this is the beauty of the problem, 0 times 30, because there was 30 surplus units which I have given. So I'm multiplying it with 0 cost here. So it has not going to play any role at all. It will not impact my total transportation cost. Plus 8 times 30 plus 12 times 25 plus 9 times 15. I leave the multiplication on you. Vogel's approximation method, problem is solved, and you can check it for optimality by using the method which I suggested in my previous video. Thank you very much.